It's not for me. It's not a situation trying to convince them to be Muslim. It's really just trying to present Islam for what Islam is, and inshallah, all I can do is leave it to Allah Azza wa Jal, and He will open their heart to the truth for it being the truth. As simple as that for me. As much as, of course, I would love them to accept Islam because it is the truth. I'm limited. The Prophet ﷺ, his uncle didn't accept Islam, and being the Prophet himself, if that wasn't enough for his uncle, you know, I have even less chance, I guess, of bringing my parents into Islam. I have to have more reliance on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bring to Islam. All I can do is give them the key, and inshallah they will open the door and come into Islam. And that's going to take time and patience, and patience is what I'm lacking, so inshallah I make dua often enough, and Allah will increase me in patience, and to open their heart to the truth, for being the truth. And inshallah slowly over time we'll show interest, which alhamdulillah there's interest there, and you know, slowly they will come to see Islam for the true Islam, for what Islam really is, and alhamdulillah then ultimately take shahada. There's no way that it could be perceived, that I could perceive it myself, that I've made a mistake coming to Islam. If I see some negativity about Islam, it's not Islam that is negative, it is but the portrayal of Islam that is negative. Unfortunately, with the non-Muslims, it's easy for them to cast a spell, but cast a perception of Islam, because generally when a Muslim is out in public, they're obviously Muslim, dress code, especially with the women, and with the man, if he's dressed in the sunnahs, they're obviously Muslim. The identity is very clear. So when something happens, if it be negative, straight away it's associated with Islam, even though it could be totally free from Islam. But with the Christians, there's no obvious identity that they are Christian or Catholic or whatever it may be. So when there's negative, there's not an association with Catholicism, Christianity, or whatever it may be. So there's no way. That's what we have to try and dispel, and that's where the Muslims need to check themselves and be aware that when they're out there looking Muslim, showing that there's Muslims and the following the religion of Islam, they need to be very careful what they do. They need to sometimes think twice about what they're going to do, because the person to the right or person to the left will see and unfortunately just automatically say, well, that must be Islam, which is majority of the cases not the situation at all. So for a Muslim today coming to Islam, alhamdulillah, they're coming to Islam in great numbers. It's hard for them, admittedly, because of the perception of Islam, but I think these days people are fed up with being shown things on just being, for lack of better words, brainwashed by the media, if that's not an appropriate word, about what Islam is, about what anything is. And people today really want to know the truth of what seeing is believing. This is what we're getting told. And when people are actually taking that step beyond the media to see for themselves, they see the truth. And alhamdulillah, I guess this is one of the major contributing factors why Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. No hesitation whatsoever. When I come into Islam, alhamdulillah, I come into Islam because I saw it to be truly the way of life that our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has decreed for us, that He has given us guidance, that He has set for us. I didn't come into Islam back then because it suited me at the time. Far from it. At the time when I was coming into Islam, as I said before, I was involved with drugs, alcohol, nightclub. Generally, I was so un-Islamic, it's not funny. And coming into Islam then was difficult because it was easy to know that what I was doing wrong, okay, I had to stop it, but stopping it was just another step. And that was probably what was harder than learning to stop it and why to stop it. It wasn't because it suited me whatsoever. It was a matter of choice. And today, it'd be the same thing. If I was to come into Islam today, it wouldn't be because it suits me. You know, people are talking good about Islam, or the Muslims seem to be doing good things. Maybe it's good to be Muslim. It was truly because it is the truth, and at the end of the day, I have no choice. It's up to our Creator. If my parents were practicing Islam, and I was born into an Islamic family, no problem. It'd be easier for me, because coming to Islam now, not only do I have to come into a neutral position by stopping simple things as Christmas and Easter, birthdays perhaps, or definitely, and the non-Islamic ways, as being born into a Muslim family, even if the children are practicing, they still have basics. They know about Eid, they know about fasting, they know, even if they don't pray, they know there's 5 daily prayers. These basics they know even if they don't practice. Whereas for me, I had to learn about them, learn why to do them, why to stop these other things that I was doing. So there's time where I've got to come neutral, if I could, to put it like that. It's harder for the people born into Islam because they're raised, I guess, with them just thinking that Islam is right without a choice. They're just told that is the way it is, and if they don't know about the other religion, how could they know that what they're doing with total certainty that what they're doing is right? There's always a perception of maybe it's wrong, and this is where some children who aren't practicing, with the parents who aren't practicing, they get caught out, because when people start knocking on their doors or whatever it may be and ask them questions, if they don't know the answers or don't know why they need to pray, why they need to fast, the benefits of fasting, the benefits of praying, then it's easy for them for the shaitan to get to them and to say maybe Islam isn't right. And perhaps that is half the problem with a lot of the Muslims today. So by choosing Islam, I've done it willingly and knowing that it is right, because I know about the other religions, how they're wrong, so I know how Islam is right, why it is right, and it gives me more iman, inshallah. It's hard to say what I would rather, but the advantage to choosing to be Muslim is that I'm open to the truth. I've not just been taught one, if I could say, form of Islam, unfortunately, by my parents. And then when someone comes to me and says, oh look, this is what you're actually doing isn't quite right, I would probably take an arrogant stand. Well, my father taught me that it must be right. The advantage I have is that whoever comes to me and says, this is Islam, this is how you do any form of worshipping, then if there's proof for it and it's authentic, I accept it, regardless of who it comes from. And yet again, regardless of who it comes from, if they come to me and say, look, this is how you should do it, but there's no authentic proof for why I should do it and for what they're claiming, then I'll leave it. That's as easy as that. So I guess that in a sense would be the advantage for choosing Islam, and that would be the battle for people who are born into Islam, because if they've been taught innocently something that isn't quite in accordance with the Sunnah, then it's going to be hard for them to step away from that and to implement the correct way on how to do something, because then the father might feel disrespected perhaps, or that his son's been arrogant or daughter's been arrogant, and it might be a bit more of a battle for the child in that sense. Where for me, choosing Islam, explaining to my parents what Islam really is, the frustration is more just, when will they take Shahada, inshallah. At the end of the day, dawah comes down to knowledge. And not only knowledge, but also experience, because you can have 10 people saying the same thing to a non-Muslim, but just the way that one person says it and comes across to that person with humbleness perhaps, or whichever way, that is what might get that person to accept Islam. And knowledge is unfortunately what I'm lacking. So therefore, in that sense, it's frustrating and harder to talk to non-Muslims, because if I can't give them the answer that they need, then it doesn't matter if I was Christian before, Catholic before, Hindu, Buddhist, whatever. If I can't satisfy that question that they're asking about Islam and give the correct answer, then that's definitely going to bring them into Islam. Because of the perception of Islam being negative, if when they ask, how come you men treat your women badly, if I can't explain to them the proper way and how the man should treat his wife, then they're going to walk away being in exactly the same position, whether I'm born Muslim or even though I've come into Islam. That would probably be irrelevant to that person. It all comes down to knowledge and giving them the correct answer and experience on how to deal with people on giving dawah, and inshallah people coming into Islam. I think the true character of a Muslim alone would probably be an amazing effect on people, on the non-Muslims, and that would be the advantage to being born Muslim, I guess, or raised by good parents, alhamdulillah. But being a revert, I can't see how that would really make too much effect. I guess in a sense it breaks the ice when it comes to talking to them, because we don't just talk about religion. We can talk about anything, and I can somehow work perhaps religion into it. But as far as them wanting to accept Islam, the stuff that I was doing back then, we were doing it because we didn't see anything wrong with it back then. Unless they thought, look, this is wrong, but I'm doing it anyway, and I was to leave it, I guess from that angle it might help with them asking me about Islam, because they would perceive what we were doing was wrong.